Okay, I'm going to show you how I use adhesive pattern paper to make stained glass. You're looking here at what I'm going to use today to show you how to do it. And so the first thing we have is the adhesive pattern paper. The pattern paper has a peel-off backing on it, and on the side with the backing, the back side, is also where the adhesive is that will stick to the glass. So I'm going to tape this paper down with the adhesive side down. The peel-off backing is on the back. Then I have a piece of carbon paper next to it, and I'm going to put the carbon paper on top of the pattern paper. Carbon side down, so that we're going to trace that right onto the adhesive paper. Next, we have a pattern. The pattern will go on the top, and then we'll be ready to trace it. So you trace your design, and while you're doing your tracing, you want to put grain lines on the pattern numbers where you're going to be putting the glass on the sheets. You want to indicate which way it should go. That's the arrow here. I'm going to put the numbers for pattern piece numbers, and then I use letters to indicate what kind of glass I'm going to cut these pieces from. You can use whatever you want. I'm using B for brown, Y for yellow, G for green. Now, once we have the pattern all traced, which would then look like this, you want to just double check to make sure that you've traced everything, and the easiest, quickest way to do that, just take this tape up, then lift up and make sure that everything is traced. And at that point, it's going to look like that. If you've missed a line, all you have to do is just put your carbon paper back, trace where you missed, and then you'll be done. You can take these apart, save your pattern because you're going to put your glass that you've cut and ground back onto it. Carbon paper, and then you have your pattern. Now this is going to be cut apart with pattern shears. I have here copper foil shears, and I'm going to cut the pattern apart with the foil shears, and this will take a little gap out of the paper. The reason it does that is because you need to have some room around the pieces for the foil that's going to go around them on the side. Now, a lot of people don't know exactly how to use pattern shears, but you don't use a long cutting motion like this that you would with regular scissors. You want to use a little snipping motion like that. And you want to keep that pattern paper back here in the throat of the scissors. That's where you want to be cutting all the time. So I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to cut right here starting at the edge, and you can see I'm using this snipping motion, and we're just going to go around this pattern paper following the lines. Then you can pull out and come back in again, cut that out, and just keep on going. Now, once we have the pattern paper all cut into the different pieces it's supposed to be cut into, then what I'm going to do is put them in different piles of the different kinds of glass they're supposed to be cut from. Once I have those pattern pieces all separate, I'm going to use some blue here. So I'm going to peel this off of the back. This is the backing. It peels off, and now this is sticky here. So I'm going to put this on here, and if it's a straight edge, I'll use the straight edge of the glass, and I'll just stick it right there. Then I'm going to score around this, and then I'm going to grind it. The pattern paper will remain on the glass the entire time. Once you've scored the glass, if you can see any glass around the edges, and I'll show you what that might look like if I can get this back off of here. This stuff sticks pretty good. But let's say that you had scored this. Then you look, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's glass still here at the edge of the pattern piece. And if you have that glass hanging over the edge of the pattern piece, then you know you've got to grind that away. You want to grind right to the very edge of the pattern piece, no more, no less. So if you're on the grinder and the grinder wheel starts to make the paper kind of bend up a little bit like that, or like this, you'll see it kind of roll up against the grinder head. That means you're grinding too much. You want to go right to this edge, no more, no less. Once everything is ground, then you can put everything back together on your pattern paper here where you had your drawing. Put all the pieces back where they belong and foil them and then solder them. And that's it.